Welcome to Deep in the Crypt, a channel dedicated to exploring the paranormal, the strange, and the supernatural. If you like the video, please bludgeon the like button and subscribe to the channel. And now, let's go deep in the crypt. The ghost of Carrickfergus Castle. Carrickfergus Castle in Northern Ireland is one of the most impressive castles in Ireland and was a very important strategic fortress for the English in Ireland. The castle was built by the Norman Lord John de Courcy in 1177 after he conquered eastern Ulster. It was then taken by Hugh de Lacy and fell into English rule for many centuries. The castle was besieged several times and was once briefly captured by French raiders and then recaptured by the English. The name Carrickfergus comes from the Irish word Carrick or Carrig, meaning rock, and the Irish name Fergus, which means strong man, strong man. A very interesting story from the castle takes place in 1760 and gave rise to the legendary ghost Buttoncap. At the time, the castle was being used as an army garrison for the English in Ireland. A handsome young soldier named Robert Rainey was in love with a local girl called Betsy Bard, and he intended to marry her. Unfortunately for Robert, Betsy was unfaithful, and she was having an affair with another man in the garrison. This love rival, a man named Jennings, was the brother of the commanding officer at the garrison. Despite this, Robert hatched an evil plan to take care of Jennings. One night, Jennings, after being in the town with Betsy, was returning home to the garrison. Rather happy with himself, was he? Why, yes. Yes, he was. Suddenly, Robert jumped out from the shadows and stabbed Jennings several times before running off. Now, unknown to Robert, Jennings, although mortally wounded, had actually survived the attack. He lay there on the ground, bleeding, until the next morning when he was found in a terrible state. Now, as you can imagine, finding the brother of the commanding officer lying in a pool of his own blood, well, this caused quite the disturbance in the castle, and there was great urgency to bring his attacker to justice. Now, right before Jennings died, he identified the man who had stabbed him. There was just one problem. It was the wrong man. Because Jennings had been attacked in the darkness of night and his attacker had fled, and by now Jennings was most likely in a delirious state, having lost so much blood, he wrongly identified Timothy Lavery as the offender. It so happened that poor old Timmy looked similar to Robert Rainey, and although he had no motive for killing Jennings, after a quick trial he was found guilty of the murder and sentenced to be executed. This was all just a very tragic case of mistaken identity. Now, Tim Lavery, the man who was to be hanged, was known as Buttoncap because he had sewn a large button on the front of his soldier's hat. Poor old Buttoncap, despite pleading his innocence, was hanged in the courtyard of Carrickfergus Castle. Before he died, he swore he would haunt Carrickfergus Castle for eternity, and so far, it appears he's lived up to this oath. Can you say lived up to for a ghost? Why not? Because he's dead? He kept his promise. The ghost of Buttoncap has been sighted standing guard on the walls surrounding the castle and on the battlements of the keep tower. Buttoncap has also been seen haunting the nearby well, which has been aptly named Buttoncap's Well. So that's it for today. What did you think of the story of Buttoncap, guys? Isn't it a tragedy that an innocent man was executed in this way? And what about Robert Rainey, who stayed quiet as another man was executed for his crime? What about Betsy Bard, who was never mentioned again? Did she have a part to play? And what about the ghost of poor old Buttoncap? Do you think he still haunts Carrickfergus Castle today? Would love to hear your thoughts, guys, so please comment down below. And stay tuned for more videos. And as always, stay scary.